Let's talk more earnings. The season is underway with some of the biggest companies reporting this week. So joining me now to break down what's going on so far, what we've seen, and what's to come is correspondent Alison Kosik. Alison, great to see you there for us in Cheddar Studios. I know one eagerly anticipated report, of course, is from Boeing, which was out earlier today. What did we learn from the aircraft manufacturer?
Hi, Kristen. Great to see you as well. Yes, we got Boeing results. They came out before the opening bell today. The company reporting that it lost $355 million in the first quarter on falling revenue. This actually was an earnings beat because earnings came in better than expected. Sort of dour results were expected. The company also burned through a lot of cash. It's trying to stabilize its production. The company said it burned through $3.9 billion just in the first quarter. The aircraft manufacturer, has been plagued by significant challenges, to say the least, notably questions over the safety of its planes and accusations of shoddy work from a growing number of whistleblowers that have come out. In a memo that was sent to employees today, Boeing's CEO, David Calhoun, he said the company is what he calls going through a tough moment. And its focus at the moment is on fixing those manufacturing issues, not the financial results. But safety, it has been a bigger talking point for execs since that unforgettable Alaska Airlines flight in January. As you can see the video there, a door plug blew out of that Boeing 737 MAX, leaving that gaping hole in the plane. Boeing is also still recovering from two deadly crashes of its MAX jets that happened in 2018 and 2019. And families of some of the 346 people who were killed in those crashes, they are scheduled to meet with officials with the Justice Department today. What they're essentially trying to undo is a settlement that has already happened that allowed the company to avoid criminal prosecution there. Kristen?
Alison, we've heard some from David Calhoun. What has he said about how the company is trying to get out of what you referenced is a tough moment for Boeing?
Yeah, what he essentially did, Kristen, is that he kind of went through a list of actions that the company is taking, and he did report significant progress in improving manufacturing quality, much of it, though, by slowing down production, and that's going to mean fewer planes for its airline customers, so it's going to hit its bottom line. Calhoun told CNBC that closer inspections were resulting in 80% fewer flaws in the fuselages coming from key supplier Spirit Aerosystems. So he wrote once again that in the near term, he said, yes, we are in a tough moment. He said lower deliveries can be difficult for its customers and for financials. But again, he reiterated that safety and quality, they have to come first above all else. And as you may know, Calhoun is going to be stepping down at the end of the year. But Kristen, he did say that he's fully confident that Boeing will recover.
Yeah, we've been waiting on that recovery, Alison, we know for quite some time now. But another report that we're watching, of course, big one on tap, is Facebook's parent company Meta, set to report after the close today. What are the key metrics that we should be watching on that one?
Yes, Meta's first quarter earnings, they come out after the bell. We are seeing the stock lower on anticipation of what we're going to see. One of the big questions coming from investors is how will Meta be able to keep up with the growth and momentum that we've seen? There it is, the stock chart. It says it all. Meta's stock, it's gained almost 40% just this year and 130% over the past 12 months. So, the company's market cap is back above $1 trillion. It's got a lot of momentum to keep up with. And you see that turnaround that Meta had. It went through all that restructuring. It had those layoffs at the end of 2022. 2023 turned into Meta calling the year a year of efficiency, where Meta's growth rate really accelerated. So again, the big question with Meta is how can this company sustain this kind of growth and really keep its run going, especially with the stock price, Kristen?
I think that's a good point. What are some of the key metrics that investors, Alison, want to see when it comes to Meta?
Yeah, analysts are projecting that Meta is going to post sales of $36 billion, and that would be up 26% from the same period in 2023, and a fifth straight quarter of revenue growth accelerating. But investors are going to be looking out for Meta's costs. The company is really leaning into the metaverse as well as its generative AI push. So all that comes with big costs, and Meta is redesigning its data centers. It's creating custom computer chips and buying hundreds of thousands of chips from the Wall Street darling NVIDIA to power those AI ambitions. Meta's advertising business, that's also going to be a metric investors are going to be watching out for, especially because it matters big. It matters for its fourth quarter. Digital ad sales contributed 97% of Meta's revenue. As far as expectations go for the first quarter, ad sales are expected to drive 98% of revenue, and analysts project ad sales will grow 26% to about $35 billion. And of course, everybody's keeping an eye on what happens with TikTok when you're thinking about Meta. If TikTok is banned, that could only help Meta at this point with Instagram, although Instagram doing pretty well with its Reels platform, Kristen.
Good stuff, Alison. So we are just about halfway through the week. We've got some big results, as you covered there. But how is the earnings season collectively shaping up so far?
Yeah, we are a little early in the game, but it is the busiest week of first quarter earnings season. So far, we've got about 40% of the S&P 500 reporting just this week, and a round of well-received reports sent stocks higher, out of the gate Tuesday, while a rally in big tech that seems to be keeping the wind at the market's back. Spotify is one that stood out to me. It beat expectations there. Its revenue surged more than 19%. Because of recent price increases. The company also said it had 239 million paying subscribers, and in line with estimates. Moving on to the next one, General Motors beat expectations after a strong quarter as well. Although you look at the other end of the spectrum, we did get results from JetBlue Airways, which tumbled 18.8% after its earnings report and had disappointing guidance. The discount air carrier reported a narrower than expected first quarter loss of 43 cents per share of inline revenue of $2.2 billion. And its second quarter full year guidance that came in below estimates. Kristen.
So with earnings season in focus, we know that is the key focus this week. We've heard a bit less about rate cut expectations. That was kind of front loaded in other weeks. Where does that stand?
Yeah, we're going to get some economic data on Friday, but we did hear from S&P Global saying the flash purchasing managers index for the manufacturing sector that fell into contraction territory in April, while separate data showed activity in the services sector grew at its slowest pace of the year. So what that data may wind up doing is helping to kind of alleviate fears that the central bank could stay restrictive too long. But the CME's group Fed Watch tool futures traders are now pricing in a 41% chance for a quarter point rate hike in July. That's up from 37%. But as I said, on Friday is the big day, and Greg McBride alluded to this. We're going to be getting the PCE. That's the Fed's preferred reading on inflation. That could really, give us a better idea of where the Fed's going to go. And also, the Fed really just doesn't want to look like it's being political. It doesn't want to make any interest rate moves as it gets closer to the election. So we'll have to wait and see if the July expectations stick, Kristen.
Yeah, I think we'll see how long this momentum from tech results, Alison, can last in the market, because we know rates really do get the focus. Outside of this week, Alison Kosik, thank you so much joining us, breaking that down in Cheddar Studios.